Hello YouTubers and welcome to another episode of the vlog. As you can tell, it's absolutely freezing. There is frost out here on the tops of the cars. But on the positive side, that usually means very flat water. So as long as we wrap up nice and warm, we'll stay warm on the water. And as always, as we're moving, we will stay warm too. But now, time to get in the club, get out the cold, and get ready for the first session. How are you? And we've made it outside to play with Yam once again, post fueling up and post session, just in between the next session where we get to do some more high intensity stuff. So it'll be a good experiment, or not a good experiment, a good chance to see how I'm feeling, because I haven't really done any high intensity since last weekend, since post tooth infection. But unfortunately I won't be with Rich this next session because he isn't feeling so hot, feeling a little bit too fatigued when you're doing the paddling, when you're doing the bursts and getting ready for the high intensity. You kind of know how you're supposed to feel when you're doing UT2, and then when the level of perceived exertion is too high, when you're feeling, okay, this is really hard versus what it usually is, then that can be a sign of that you could be ill, under-recovered, or something similar to that. But those things aren't great to experience, and if you're feeling under-recovered and feeling really tired and feeling extra fatigued, then it's really important to make sure you're getting that recovery in. And if you are feeling like it's too hard, if you're ill, it's really difficult to say you're ill and then, like for example this morning, saying, okay, I'm not sure about this next session, I don't want to do the high intensity because it might push me further into a hole. So then it's difficult to say, okay, well now I'm possibly letting your pair partner down, but it is probably better in the long run, like I've said, to make sure that you're feeling good and ready to go rather than putting yourself further into a hole, try to do the pieces because you don't want to let anyone down. But in reality you'll probably end up letting more people down if you end up more ill. But it seems that there's a lot of illnesses, a lot of viruses, a lot of fatigue going around at the moment, especially as we build into sort of the winter training, and as well at this time of year where illnesses and viruses and all that are quite prominent. So making sure that you are doing your best to have good hygiene and stay away from people that might be ill, or making sure that you give yourself the best opportunity to not get ill. But now, going to be doing the 1500s with Luke, one of the other guys, so not Rich. And now it's time to go get Yam, play with him a little bit more, and then I'll see you on the water. How are you? We made it to Fish Friday! Woo! And we've made it outside of the club after fueling up after the session. Unfortunately, the GoPro or myself didn't quite get the pieces recording, but now it's time to head back to the house, chill out, relax, and have a little bit of a chat about the getting used to the intensity and getting training post tooth infection. Oh yeah. 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 Just admiring the colour of the leaves on this crisp fall day in the garden, and Yam's having a ball playing in the leaves. Looks like we might have to do a little cleanup of said leaves. But how was today? Well, a little bit of pair rowing again as we switch up the pairs for the testing coming up. But as I said yesterday, as we talked about, is adjusting for for me being in bow seat and adjusting for the person in the stroke seat. And it's always interesting to row with different people, as each person has that sort of different way of rowing, and then you have to adjust to that. But today we did have some higher intensity pieces, and it's good to do those, especially like I said, post the tooth infection and then building back in. And it feels like I am making good progress, and probably the next biggest test will be tomorrow. We have a half hour to do tomorrow on the rowing machine, and then we'll kind of see how that goes. So if that goes well, or if it gets like close to what I was doing probably in test week now 6 or so weeks ago, 7, 8 weeks ago, if I can get my score close to that, then it'll mean that I'm roughly where I was before I got ill. So as always, when you get ill and then you come back, you're thinking, well, I know exactly what to do next time, so make sure I don't get ill. But it's always a case of when you do get ill, you're thinking, how did that happen? So right now, just making sure that, like I said at the beginning of the video, making sure super hygienic, whether that's making sure I'm washing my hands or other hygienic things, and making sure I'm fueling right, but not just getting the maximum amount of fuel in my body, but also making sure that I've got the right specific fuel. So that's lots of vegetables, lots of fruit, lots of things that my body wants, not lots of nutrients that my body wants and needs to keep going, especially as we do multiple sessions per day. And also have been looking at my sleep as well, which I'll probably talk about in another video, but making good improvements with that and seeing how that affects my training day as well. But obviously I'm a little bit of an outlier, or we are, when we're training at the club, we're doing multiple sessions a day, 2-3 sessions a day, and I know most of the YAM squad don't so much have the opportunity to do so many sessions a day, but it is still applicable to you guys. So like getting enough sleep, getting enough fruit and veg, etc. is all really important no matter what you're doing. But that will be it for today's episode, YAM Squad. Gonna play with Yam in the fall leaves, and as always, remember to subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that like button, and I'll see you tomorrow for the half hour. So I might do a row along half hour video, or I might just do a sort of talking about sort of the half hour piece on the erg. So let me know in the comments below if you want either of those, but I will see you tomorrow.